You're listening to Autumn on the Air, the weekly podcast that brings you conversations about the impact of research commercialization and the people who make it happen. Join us for interviews with patent and licensing professionals, innovators, entrepreneurs, and tech transfer leaders on the issues and trends that matter most. Keep listening for an inside track on the people, IP policies, and politics changing our world.
Welcome to another episode of Autumn on the Air. Today, we're thrilled to have Dr. Marcia Chang, Vice President of IP Operations and Client Success at Tradespace, joining us. Marcia brings over 20 years of experience in intellectual property strategy, operations, and commercialization. With a Ph.D. in electrical engineering from Cornell University and a J.D. from Santa Clara University, she has held leadership roles at companies like Applied Materials, Metawave Corporation, and Hewlett Packard Enterprise. At Tradespace, Marcia is at the forefront of leveraging AI to transform intellectual property management and commercialization. She has also been recognized as one of the top 50 women leaders in tech law. Welcome to the podcast, Marcia. Really excited to have you here on the air.
Same. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, very excited to have you on the podcast today to talk about Tradespace and give us a little bit of an overview of its mission and how it's revolutionizing the field of intellectual property management.
Sure. So Tradespace's mission is to empower IP teams to focus on strategy and unlock the value of their portfolios. We started out as a company that was focused on bridging the gap between all the innovation created, the various R&D teams, whether it's a university, a corporate, or in the research lab space, and the organizations that are wanting to take these innovations to market. Hence the name Tradespace, right? It's a space where ideas themselves can be assessed, evaluated, traded, and turned into value. The name Tradespace also evokes a philosophy that is borrowed from the systems engineering field that maps every choice onto a multidimensional trade space. So teams can weigh alternatives, navigate trade-offs, and choose the optimal path. So in a nutshell, what Tradespace does is we map an organization's IP trade space and guide our customers to really the highest value IP strategy available, just as a system engineer would navigate design choices. Now, to your question on how it's revolutionizing the field, we believe that our tech can just help, teams manage IP better, but it can make IP better too. And we do this by treating IP as a truly holistic process, looking at the entire IP lifecycle and asking how the technology can make the whole thing be more connected. And then we bring in AI to make each part of it stronger too.
So that's really interesting. You really help IP teams transition from being really cost centers to value drivers. So tell us a little bit more about how the platform achieves this shift.
Yeah, we achieve this in a couple of ways, right? Tactical and strategically. So tactically, Tradespace can do things like give IP teams, language that translates technical concepts into business ones that truly resonate with company leadership, or help IP teams make better sense of their portfolio as a whole in a business context. Strategically, Tradespace gives teams time back to be able to focus on creating and communicating more value. So, for example, a big part of in-house IP department at a company, in some of my previous roles, is to decide which invention disclosures to file as patent applications. More often than not, the IP team is overwhelmed with workload and having to do more with less. An IP attorney may be an expert in one technical area, but they may have to evaluate invention disclosures in areas that's completely outside of their area of expertise. And this is one of the ways where we can help by translating the complex technical concepts into those disclosures into language that helps the IP attorneys make their filing decisions and assess the business value and communicate that value to their leadership.
I would think for university tech transfer offices where it's even a lot more broad than in an in-house situation, this is really invaluable because you're getting all types of disclosures over a huge field. And, in some of the offices that are particularly small, to try and make sense of all this different technology coming from you from all these different fields, it must be an incredible value add, I would think.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And that's one thing that, we can do is really help empower those teams, right? To shift through all that technical information in a much shorter time.
So you have a number of AI tools that are really tailored for managing the entire IP life cycle. So walk us through some of those key features that set Tradespace apart, because there's a lot of AI tools out there. It seems like every day I'm getting an email, try this tool, try that tool. What makes Tradespace's tools different than the rest of them that are out there?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think the example I just provided is truly a great one because it pulls from different features that really help the IP teams unlock the value of their portfolios and set us apart. I would say that some of our key features involve that invention disclosure evaluation process that I mentioned. And before that, the invention submission features in an inventor portal that enables the teams to really harvest more innovation overall. So one of the pain points I heard throughout my career, in-house came from the inventors and innovators themselves who struggled to find the time to submit their invention disclosures, or they were in general very frustrated with the tools and forms that they had to fill out. Our platform uses AI to make the invention disclosure submission process very simple for all inventors. And it makes me really happy that finally in my career, I'm able to address that pain point. And after all, I think I've always thought that the whole IP engine starts with the innovators themselves. And sometimes the IP and legal teams forget that, and they focus on the processes that, are not necessarily meant to facilitate the lives of the innovators that are at the heart of everything, right? And once we facilitate that submission process for them, we also facilitate the evaluation process for the IP teams, right? As I said, we use AI to translate through the complex technical information, in many different, you may get many different disclosures from many different areas, right? Whether you are a life sciences tech licensing manager, or, you may get different aspects of life sciences that really may not be your expertise, right? So we use AI to translate through all that into giving you that business value. And in doing so, we speed up the process with instantly generated AI analysis that have better and deeper insights to get to the decision faster. And I think one of the key things that set us apart is that we are able to streamline the entire IP process in a single one end-to-end platform for the teams to get those holistic insights that they can use for the entire organization.
Now, let me ask you, because I can already envision some listeners out there saying, okay, this really sounds great, but is my data used to train a larger model? I'm assuming these are very customized systems to either a particular company or to a particular university, that the information is not going out there in kind of the broader AI world that we're all kind of like the ChatGPT perplexity kind of world.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's par for the course. If the listeners are interested and they can navigate to our tradespace.io website, we have a lot of information there on, how we protect the data, how the data is not used to train models, how there is no risk that the data is going to be mingled with another organization's data, and all the security in place. The fact that we have, national labs and some companies that really pay the utmost attention to their, IP protection. I mean, it's a testament to what we are able to build, right? It's very different than going into your ChatGPT on your web browser, for your, personal needs. Maybe you asking ChatGPT, hey, I have a I'm noticing a bump here on my collarbone after I did this shoulder workout. What is this? Tell me. That information is not going to be out there, right? I mean, it's a very private instance of the model that is specific for that customer.
Now, I know you support and work with a number of tech transfer offices at universities. Can you share with us a little bit about how you help them bring innovations to market?
Yeah, so we support that in a number of ways. First, we help tech transfer officers manage their scale and the sheer diversity, right, of the technology opportunities that we talked about, right, by allowing them to really leapfrog their market research. We explicitly provide an AI-assisted commercialization process with automatic matching of innovations to potential partners down to the contact level. And this process gives them not just contact information, but also generates tech summaries in less than a minute and helps the tech transfer teams manage their communications individually, track their activities, and truly amplify the marketing of all their technologies.
So it really allows them to do a whole lot more with less, something that probably would have taken them weeks to do. It sounds like you can pretty much do with Tradespace in minutes.
Yes, for sure.
Now, are there some specific examples that you can share with us about how Tradespace has helped organizations identify some high-value licensing opportunities or maybe even commercialize some dormant, on-the-shelf type of IP assets?
Yeah, I can share all the particular details, but I can say in general terms, right? So we've helped one of our customers identify some, as you mentioned, right, dormant IP assets that were, just sitting there in their portfolio, but that our AI tools were able to uncover use cases in industry spaces that the customer had not previously thought about, right? So a lot of times, innovators will draft and submit their invention disclosure materials, thinking about, this is the problem that I'm working on in my lab. This is the solution that I'm coming up for this problem, and in this particular narrow field, right? And that goes through that evaluation by the IP team, and that kind of limits that thinking to that particular, space. But with AI, you're able to identify other areas that the technology can be valuable, right? So in this particular case, for this customer, identifying this use case that was outside of their, immediate thinking, led them to create a technology opportunity and use our platform to uncover those partners that they weren't aware of in this space, and ultimately taking them to a deal that generated some very great, valuable and needed ROI for the customer, right? And this story is not a unique one, right? I think we see this happening more and more with our customers. And the more that our customers realize the power of a platform and they feel comfortable, with it and truly embracing the change that AI can bring, the more that we are helping them commercialize technologies in multiple and different spaces that their organizations work on.
Yeah, and I would think for tech transfer offices, you frequently see on their website technologies that have been sitting there for years and they have gone completely dormant. There hasn't been interest. So to be able to take some of those and kind of retool them, so to speak, for other applications that maybe weren't even contemplated can be really powerful. And like you said, extremely valuable as well.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Now, you've spoken a lot about AI's liberating potential for IP professionals. What do you think are some of the specific ways AI is reshaping the field of IP management today?
Yeah, so I had this, and I love this question because, in my career, I spent some time at a startup that was building technology for, specifically in radar for autonomous vehicles, right? And I always thought that autonomous vehicles had that liberating aspect, right? Of, hey, we don't have to spend the commute driving, we can spend the commute reading because somebody else is going to be taking us there, right? And I think AI has the same liberating aspect. And I could go on and on, right? But I think I want to share too that when ChatGPT came to the forefront, and it's been more than a couple of years ago now, I was a skeptic like many people, right? I was very anchored in my legal world, having this narrow mind and limited thinking that all the talk about AI was just hype, and that it perhaps, it could help some people, it could help me, as I said, like, I want to get to a quick answer to, find a restaurant or whatever, right? Whatever the use case may be. But in no way was going to transform or help my legal world, right? And of course, I was so wrong, right? So it took me a few months. But once I fully realized and understood the potential and all the outcomes that AI can help us with, I completely changed my perspective, right? And I became not just a believer, but really a champion of AI here at Tradespace, right? So in IP in particular, right, you talk about liberating. I think AI is helping us not just harvest innovations, but it's helping us educate inventors. And as I mentioned earlier, right, it enables better portfolio management with, not just faster decision making, but also higher quality decisions, also higher quality assets. It helps the TTO community build relationships and trust. And I think truly, improve all the IP processes that we have and, protect IP holistically, right? So the liberating aspect, right? In the short term, liberates us from, it automates what we already do, improves efficiency, improves productivity. But in the long term, I think it will truly help unlock, this freedom for us to, imagine, create, and lead, think through strategically and nurturing the vision, right? All the vision and values that define an organization's culture or our culture, right? So I really transformed my thinking, and it's been really wonderful for me to, to at this point in my career to see how, a technology can help, not just my professional life, but can truly like unlock this, the possibilities that I see for the future. And it makes me much more of an optimistic person and really excited about what's to come.
Yeah, completely agree with you. And I'd be curious what message you might have to people. I have some colleagues like that who are very afraid of AI. They don't want to touch it. And I have kind of jumped in and forced myself to learn it because I feel like if I wait too much longer, it's going to be even harder to kind of catch up. So what are your thoughts of the people who are still nervous about it, who are hesitant to try it? What advice would you have for them?
I think it all starts with education and practice, right? So I think when it comes to education, right, maybe start out by trying to demystify the technology. Maybe take a brief course on on AI. There's so many resources out there. There are a lot of materials on LinkedIn. Just educate yourself and read and see what other people are saying. A big part of my education was I read this book called Tomorrow's Lawyers by this, truly a visionary. He had done a Ph.D. in AI and law in the 80s. And this is a gentleman called Richard Susskind. And he wrote this book. And when I read that book, I realized that, wow, the future is going to look very differently with AI, right? So I think just being able to go on your own journey of education, I think it would definitely help. And also just using it in not just, kind of buying into the fear mongering, but thinking that, if you are a professional, I think we're going to realize that there's actually almost, you're going to be doing a disservice to your organization if you're not using AI, right? Because you're going to be slower. You're going to, not benefit from all the insights that AI can give you. And of course, like, with anything AI, you trust the information, but you verify it, right? It's not here to replace you. It's here to help, and it's here to amplify your knowledge base and amplify your ability to handle tasks and do things, so you can focus on all the fun stuff, on all the strategy and the creative aspects that humans have always, brought so much to the world, right? So.
Absolutely. And to echo something you said a little bit earlier about, I encourage people to take a course. That's what I did. It really demystified things a lot. And you're amazed, I think, once you go through just a general kind of prompting course, how easy it really is to use. And then you discover not long after, all these things that used to take you a long time to do are much more efficient for you. So you can focus on more substantive things.
Yes, absolutely.
So turning back to tech transfer for a second, I wanted to ask you, what do you see as some of the biggest challenges in tech transfer today, and how is Tradespace addressing those?
Yeah, great question. I think, I spoke about some of those challenges when it comes to, harvesting innovation, evaluating them, and so forth. But I think a big part of it now, is more and more tech transfer offices have to deal with, budget constraints, resource constraints, and they're really having to do more and more with less, right? I mean, the teams have scaled down. They don't have the budget. They don't have the resources at the same time. The universities are pressuring the offices to generate more revenues and so forth. So I think that, all those challenges, especially the resource and budget challenges, are going to remain there for a while now. And I think, that's when AI can come into play here, right? Because, AI can empower those offices with really knowledge of the entire internet, right? Plus all the organization's context instantly, as much as they need, right? Like our AI tools at Tradespace can help their offices not just go, deep, but also wide, right? In amplifying those and finding those use cases, right? Simplifying, summarizing information, really generating all the insights for tech commercialization to be faster, cheaper, and better. And it's all at the tip of fingertips, right? So I think in this world where everyone is struggling with budget and resources, AI is there. And this journey that we've been on with our customers has been nothing short of exciting, right? We've seen our university clients clear year-long backlogs and say their non-confidential summaries, year-long transformed into just a few months, right? 3 months. And it's like using Tradespace is like adding a member to your team, right? So yes, there are all these challenges today, but I truly think that AI is here to help. And everyone should take time and go on their own journey of awareness of the technology and discovery and coming to terms with it, and really realizing that, you're going to be left behind. So the time is now for you to really embrace it.
Completely agree. And that leads me to want to ask you, looking ahead a little bit, what trends do you foresee shaping the future of tech transfer and IP commercialization?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. And although I don't have a crystal ball or feel even, qualified to predict the future in any shape or form, right? I think that, what we are going to see is really more transformative technologies that are going to be able to unlock the potential of some of the innovations that these amazing research teams have been working on. And then for whatever reason, those technologies are not getting to market, right? And I think having that almost like, the data-driven AI approach of, based on, again, the knowledge of the entire internet, to say this technology could be used in this space to unlock this, amazing outcome or result. I think it's really, something that we're going to see more and more, right? So I'm really, really excited about what's to come. I think that the technology is just going to continue to get better and better. And I think a lot of the issues that people worried about, especially in the beginning, right, with biases or hallucinations and et cetera, I think with each technology, release and improvements, I believe in the power of it. And I believe that it is just going to, unlock, new ways of adapting, tech that was developed for one use case into other use cases. And it's going to expand our discoveries. I think we are truly in a very, very exciting times. And I think it's amazing to be living in those times and to see, what's to come.
Now, Marcia, you've had really quite the incredible career. As you mentioned, you've been in startups, large corporations, and now you're at Tradespace. What inspired your transition into this AI-driven solutions area for IP management?
Yeah, thank you for the question. And I think, many people, to me, I'm going to start from the beginning because I was back in graduate school writing my dissertation. And, when you're submitting a dissertation, you have from the beginning and you talk about, your acknowledgement and you thank, your family, etc. And then, I had quotes and then, as cliche as it sounds, right? I had that Robert Frost quote, 2 roads diverge in the wood, and I took the one less traveled by. So I had started my path, always in engineering. And then when I went to the Career Services Center at Cornell, thinking, okay, now it's time to leave the academic world and join the real world. Let's see what's out there. And interviewed for, this, firm that I just signed up for the interview. And it turned out that, hey, we'll support you through law school and you can work in IP. And I jumped into it, right? I took that road less traveled by. And I think to me, that has been a theme that I've always tried to challenge myself, and I think what really transformed me, I remember I was in a meeting, and people were starting to talk about AI and talking about, AI can draft claims. And I was totally a naysayer, said, no way, it's not going to be able to do that. Right. I've seen how hard it is to truly draft a very high quality application and that prosecutes that application and get it granted and, unlock the value in licensing, et cetera, et cetera. And then I think I just started educating myself, right? I started reading more and more. I started using it and becoming very impressed with what I was seeing and focusing on the results, right? And focusing, oh, wow, this can truly help. So it was kind of like my personal journey of reading, educating myself, and realizing it that, things were forever going to be changed and I needed to adapt, right? So, and if I didn't adapt, I was going to be left behind. And it was reading that book that I mentioned, Tomorrow's Lawyers, and seeing more and more the power that AI can have in my profession specifically, really unlocked this, motivation in me to learn more about it and to truly help. And at this point in my career, I feel like, I really want to give back and I want to do something that has an impact, right? And I feel like here at Tradespace, we are building that tool to unleash that, that impact on our customers, right? So it gives me a lot of satisfaction to wake up every day and to do what I do, to know that I am helping, IP teams with their strategies, whatever it may be, whether it's for commercializing technologies, right, for tech transfer offices, or for our corporate customers, manage their IP, or find new use cases, or get their inventors to submit more disclosures, whatever it may be, right? I mean, it's truly a pleasure, and it gives me a lot of satisfaction, as I said, to wake up every day and know that what I'm doing has an impact on many people.
Well, continuing to reflect on your journey a little bit, what lessons have you found to be most valuable in navigating this really unique intersection between law, technology, and innovation?
Yeah, I think one lesson that I've had throughout is, always being humble. Because when you are in an academic environment, when I was doing my PhD, at Cornell, electrical engineering, right? I was always humbled by, wow, there's so many, even though, you get to that stage and you have the dissertation, you feel very accomplished, being able to reflect and say, there are a lot of things that I don't know. And I am just going to be open to take that road less traveled by. And I am going to be open to learn about new fields, and I realized this already when I was in grad school because I was working on a problem in image processing that I realized, wait a minute, the people that actually see, who sees the images, right? The digital images are the humans. And there's this whole human visual system, the perception of how we perceive information. And I started working, cross this disciplinary, ways with people in psychophysics to pull in all the knowledge from that world into what I was doing in my engineering world, right? So I think the main lesson is not just being humble, but being open to always learn something new and truly see technology not just as this machines taking over the world, but as an empowering tool that is going to help unleash our creativity, right? We've achieved so much with each generation, of tech and each generation of human endeavor, right? So being able to take all these lessons from across disciplines and apply to your own and be that empathetic, leader that puts yourself in the shoes of others, when you're trying to solve a problem, when you're trying to motivate people to solve a problem. So I think it's just, those to me are the main lessons, being humble, being open, and truly being receptive to other areas that people are working on to try to understand, their perspective, and take that perspective into improving yours, right? So it's a constant learning journey for me.
So Tradespace has already unlocked over 100 million in IP commercialization revenue for its clients. That's extraordinary. So given that, what's next for the company as you continue to grow?
Yeah, I think it's been a tremendous journey so far. And I think what's next for us really is, scaling, not just with customers, but also evolving and scaling our product as AI evolves, right? So I think we have a lot of things that we are working on that is going to, they're going to help our customers even more unlock the value of their portfolios. And I think that, what's next for us really is, continue to improve our product and continue to provide even more and more value to our customers, right? And at the end of the day, it's all about helping our customers and helping them, with whatever needs they may have, right? In the tech transfer space, helping our customers identify more technologies that may be dormant in their portfolios that they can then take it to market, that can generate results that will benefit us all, right? Potentially, there is a compound that one university has, developed that they thought could be applicable in one space. But could be, help in, say, combined with another compound in another cure for another disease, right? So I think the possibilities are endless. So being in the space as a enabler of these possibilities, and being in a space where we are providing them tools to put them on the rocket boosters to really explode in their capabilities, I think it's truly exciting for me.
Well, Marcia, as the podcast comes to a close, how do you see AI evolving in the next 5 years or so, particularly in its application to IP and technology transfer?
Yeah. Again, another great question. And I just want to use that own lesson that I talked about of humbleness, right? Being humbled enough to say that I'm here not as an AI expert in any shape or form, right? There are many more people there that are truly brilliant in the space that can speak more to how AI is going to evolve. But in my perspective, I think that AI is evolving to truly become a partner in our work, right? I mean, we are going to have AI as a partner. And I think everyone is going to realize the potential that it has, of course, with an eye on potential issues that are going to be resolved technically over time. But I think it's evolving to be that partner that you and I are having a podcast conversation right now, and being able to have AI as a partner in your work, that you can have that, interactions to evaluate what, your IP, to determine, where to go, to determine who is going to be your commercial partner, et cetera, right? But of course, unleashing all that information to you, but you yourself being in the ultimate, arbiter on that information you receive and how you're going to act upon it, right? So you should always verify it and have that, capabilities to assess, right, the output that you get. But again, using it as a partner to amplify, everything that you do.
Well, Marcia, thank you so much for joining us today and telling us all about Tradespace. It's absolutely incredible technology and what you can do for tech transfer offices and others in terms of IP management, and your other AI solutions is just phenomenal. Can't wait to see where you guys go. So thank you so much.
Thank you. It has been a pleasure.
Thank you so much, Marcia, for sharing your expertise with us today. It's inspiring to hear how Tradespace is empowering organizations to unlock the full potential of their intellectual property portfolios while driving innovation forward. For our listeners who want to learn more about Marcia's work or to explore how Tradespace can support their IP needs, visit tradespace.io. We'll be back next week with more conversations about research commercialization and the people making it happen. Until then, stay curious and keep innovating.
Thanks for listening to Autumn on the Air with Lisa Mueller. Get social with us and share your thoughts. You can tweet us at AUTM or visit us online at autm.net. We'll be back next week on the air. Be sure to join us.